Deep in the rugged country of Australia's Northern Territory, an elite group is at the front line to safeguard an Aboriginal land. Their job is to protect this ancient wilderness called Kakadu. Floods, fire, feral animals, and deadly crocodiles are just some of the challenges they face.
Down there, back.
With 20,000 square kilometers to cover, theirs is a massive task. It's a group living on the frontier where man meets wild, and nature calls the shots.
Crocodile could be lying down there anyway.
It's the beginning of another wild year for these Outback Rangers. In the heart of Kakadu lies the remote Jim Jim outstation. Here, Ranger Kathy Wilson is under heavy pressure.
Yeah, we've got to get a move on the choppers due at 2.
Peak tourist season is just around the corner, and she has to open Twin Falls and Jim Jim Falls, two of Kakadu's most popular attractions. But there's something standing in her way, something with teeth. Over the wet season, large crocs have traveled from the tidal rivers, up through the floodplains, all the way to the base of the falls. Cold-blooded and solitary, these dangerous reptiles can take out a human in mere seconds.
This is prime croc country. This is the start of a real deep waterhole. We've got crocodiles going up and down. It's very dangerous. It's likely that somebody will get taken.
Over the next few weeks, the rangers have to remove crocs from within 10 kilometers of Jim Jim Falls. If they miss a single animal, the consequences could be tragic.
Who saw the one up at Twin Falls?
That was reported by a helicopter pilot. Yeah.
With little time to spare, Gary Lidner, Kakadu's croc expert, has come to lend Kathy a hand.
Yeah, and like a 10-footer. In these areas here, the prey for a crocodile can be exhausted really quick. So what that means is you come along, you've got a hungry croc in the water, depending on whether he's just got there and he's getting into the tucker that's in the water. If he's exhausted that, he's going to be lean, going to be hungry, and he's going to be looking at you if you get in the water.
It's quite deceptive for a lot of people with a small body of water like this. You don't expect to find a great white in a swimming pool, but a saltwater crocodile could easily live in here all year if there's a food supply. There's not enough food in here to sustain a large animal right through the dry season, and people, especially small children, will easily be targeted. Even people just walking by, walking up to the edge of the bank, looking at the water, they're at high risk.
Until the area is croc-free, the falls will remain closed. In Jabiru, the park's main township, tour operator Steve Toms waits anxiously for the falls to be opened.
People are ringing up saying, oh, when's Jim Jim and Twin Falls opening? And you go, well, yeah, it might open in early June, it might not, and this time of year, you know, the campground should be filling up, and there was a few people there. It's the whole industry around here that's just taken a hit. If you lose half your business in June, you're probably down nearly $40,000 a year. Like myself, I'm just a small operator. Until this place is open, I'm pretty much stuck here washing trucks.
With so much at stake, the pressure is on the rangers to clear the tourist spots. Their first task is to set a trap along the waterway leading up to the falls.
We're heading deep into rogue crocodile country.
Wow, you like to smell that smell? Really strong, fishy smell, hey? It's the smell of like crocodiles. careful going around the water's edge, hey, just in case he's watching us.
The trap will be placed at one of the most inaccessible parts of the falls. To do so, Kathy calls in reinforcements.
All right, so we're coming up on the top of the gorge now. At this stage, we're fully committed.
With little margin for error, a wrong move could spell disaster.
The walls are pretty tight on both sides. We don't have a lot of room to correct. It's obviously dangerous, but very important that people, ground crew, all safe evac.
One step closer to getting the place free of crocs.
Over the next few weeks, the rangers will begin night surveys to search the Jim Jim area's waterways for any sign of the deadly predators. "80 kilometers from Jim Jim Falls, at the Magilla floodplain, Calvin Murakami and Fred Hunter are launching another patrol. They form the park's integrated feral team, battling invasive species that threaten to destroy these wetlands. Today, their aim is to find and destroy a noxious weed called mimosa. It spreads fast over the wetlands, blocking access to vital sources of food underneath. If left unchecked, the mimosa can wipe out entire species.
It's places like this now, just searching, looking around. We could go for 2 weeks and not find a plant. Got to go everywhere. We've got to look wherever. Any pockets or anything like that, we'll go and look, because that's where the plants could be. Look, mimosa's over there.
Mimosa.
Mimosa is from South America, brought over in the late 1800s. And from there, it spread itself around the top of the Northern Territory. We have to come out here every year, dry season and the wet season, to make sure that plants like this are not going to be able to drop their seeds.
With nearly 10,000 square kilometers of floodplain to cover on their small airboat, it's a daunting task.
What you see out here now is natural. Red lilies, ungulate, all this stuff here, that's what the geese eat. When the water goes down, that's where the little yams are underneath there. If that was covered in mimosa, there'd be nothing here for the geese to eat. Turtles wouldn't be able to live in it, so it would be a disaster. It's a constant battle to protect Kakadu.
Near the mouth of the South Alligator River, rangers are preparing for a battle with a problem croc.
We begin tonight with an exclusive report on a rogue crocodile, more than 4 metres long, becoming so aggressive that Parks Australia feared it was only a matter of time before his taste turned from boats to the human bait on board.
A ferocious croc has been harassing fishermen.
As the tide had sort of turned, the boats start to move around a bit, so you sort of start to get a bit disorientated because it's all dark. Everyone's quiet, and the crocs come up to the back of the boat, hiding in the shadow behind the motor, so you couldn't even see it. You could just hear it. And he came back to our boat 3 times, and you'd shine the torches on him and everything, and he'd disappear. And then he'd come back again. You know, we're trying to work out why he wouldn't go away. You know, it was like we're leaving a trail for him. And the next minute, you heard this big crunch.
That's him.
He jumped out of the water and decided to bite this. It doesn't take a lot for a big croc like that to get out of the water. There's a heck of a lot of them now. They're just everywhere, everywhere. You get them on the line all over the banks, they're in the rivers, they're chasing you here, there and everywhere. And in the old days, they didn't do that. They stayed away.
With media reports compounding the pressure, Gary Lidner and his crew head out to the South Alligator River. They need to find and remove this menacing croc fast.
We get reports back from people about, certain crocodiles around the place, and it's about identifying those risks and, analysing it and then putting something in place to, stop someone from getting eaten or attacked.
It's kind of Jurassic Park, and you have to, afford them every respect. It's not about fearing crocs, it's about respecting them and understanding what they're capable of.
Back at the Magilla floodplains, Calvin and Fred have just discovered another big problem.
Got a big damage here, Calvin.
Wild pigs.
Yeah, a fair bit of it, isn't it? They've been here for a while by the looks of it.
Yeah, basically the pigs have dug it up, looking for yams. As the water gets lower, the pigs are coming out and digging it all up, and you can see there's a fair bit of damage here.
Just like mimosa, pigs are an introduced species. They threaten the survival of the wetlands and their native inhabitants. These pigs dig deep into the wetlands in search of food, destroying the floodplains. What started as a weed patrol has now turned into a mission to control feral pigs.
Good mob of pigs over here. Might be about 15 or...
When they start running, make sure you've got a tree to hide behind. That's all. No one enjoys doing it. They're not bloodthirsty sort of thing. It's part of our job, yeah. It's either you control your feral animals or you let them destroy the environment, plus all the native wildlife, their habitat, their feed. So yeah, I know what I'm choosing. I'm choosing to get rid of ferals. Yeah, it's a nice fat pig and we'll take it home to eat.
With the herd of pigs under control, the crew can now call it a day. But for another team, the battle is just about to begin. Night falls, South Alligator River. Gary Lidner and his crew are hoping to catch a large crocodile that has been attacking fishing boats. They must remove it from the river, alive.
It's a high-risk activity when you're doing croc management, like harpooning. You can get grabbed, you can get pulled underwater, you can get grabbed on the hand and, yeah, limb twisted off. They're a really powerful animal. Got a nice one, bit toey, Calvin. Spotlight. Oh. Have a look at him. Yeah, no, he was just sitting under the water, eh?
Not all crocs in Kakadu get this confident, but given the chance, this one could strike again.
You're gonna have to get around on him so we can get a harpoon on him, look. Line is here. Second harpoon, quick. Second harpoon, down there. Back. Harpoon him, quick. Just hit him. Okay, get another one. Okay, David, come on. Get another good hit, okay? Pull him up. Highly likely that this is the animal that bit the boat. He's about a 4.2 metre saltwater crocodile, around the size that the fisherman reported. And he seems to have some lacerations here on his jaws. And these look like, you know, a few days old.
A strong dose of muscle relaxant is injected into the croc to make it easier for the rangers to handle him.
A very powerful animal. You can see the way he shook the ropes, and it took 3 harpoon lines to secure him and a couple of snout ropes. So the challenge now is to try and get him in the boat. 1, 2, 3. Hang on. Come up here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go!
Luckily for this creature, it's not the end for him. Yet. He's going to live out his remaining days on a croc farm in Queensland. The next day, over at Jim Jim Creek, the rangers are making sure no stone is left unturned. Kathy Wilson and Fred Baird are installing more traps along the 10 kilometres of waterway leading up to the falls.
At the end of last dry season, we pulled a croc trap from out of the water down here, and we put it up high on one of the banks.
With all this dead spear grass, everything's hard to find.
Always got to watch out for snakes.
Fred! Found it! Got it here!
Yeah, it's well camouflaged, yeah. Here come reinforcements.
This is a croc track here. Yeah, it's probably come up middle of the day. I reckon probably within 2 weeks we'll have one in the trap. That's pretty good, Fred. Working on the edge of the water is always a risk. That's why we have someone on the lookout all the time with a firearm. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Deep water makes it easier for the crocodile to just lunge up out of the water nice and quick. So you've got to keep your wits about you and keep an eye out.
You're watching, aren't you, Fred? Give it one pull just to make sure. Beautiful.
With the trap in place, there's only one thing left to do.
Throw a few matches, we'll burn this area.
Throw one.
This time each year, parts of Kakadu are intentionally set ablaze. A technique practiced by the traditional owners for thousands of years. Burning the speargrass now will prevent uncontrolled destructive fires later in the hot season. To get the job done today, a chopper takes to the skies, dropping firebombs to follow traditional burning patterns.
Yeah, he's putting up a fair bit of smoke from that little bit of fire.
Fire strategy in Kakadu does relate back to the way the Indigenous people used to burn when there were thousands of people living here. And of course, this day and age, there aren't the same amount of people, but there's still the same amount of country. But we still try and create the same sort of patchwork of burns that occurred, you know, way back when Aboriginal people used to do it.
The opening of Jim Jim Falls and Twin Falls is now just weeks away. Yet an elusive croc is still keeping the area closed. Tonight, Kathy and her team are embarking on a dangerous hunt, and they don't intend to go home empty-handed.
First thing is to have the gun ready to go for our safety, personal protection. We'll take the rifle with us.
You definitely get nervous when you're heading out onto the creek, deep water. You just don't know where he's going to be hiding.
The crew checks the floats they've left in the water, looking for any recent bite marks.
There's quite a few fresh marks on there. Looking at a 3.5 metre croc. That's quite hard. An animal that's left this mark could easily make a meal of a person. Fred, let's just have a look at that trap, eh? Looks like the bait got taken, Fred. Means we've missed it. A feed of a good pig leg like that, it could be a week or more before it's ready to eat again.
Yeah, it looks like it just might have got jammed, Kathy.
The croc has slipped away this time. But as the sun comes up, the Rangers get a fresh lead.
Yeah, Ollie, I can see a big crocodile down there in Jim Quolls.
That might be the one that they've been trying to target. Fly around again, mate, and I'll take a GPS of it. Let Kathy know she can take it from there.
With the deadly croc in their sights, the crew must now intensify their efforts. The clock is ticking fast, and the stakes have never been higher.
They're terrifying when you see what they're capable of.
In the next episode, Rangers race against time as they continue the tug of war with one of nature's most fearsome creatures. Previously on Outback Rangers, the crew are on a mission to trap a potential killer.
Looks like the bait got taken, Fred. Means we've missed it.
Yeah, Ollie, I can see a big crocodile down there.
That might be the one that they've been trying to target.
With tourist season around the corner in Kakadu, the stakes have never been higher. In this episode, Rangers intensify their hunt for the deadly croc.
Potentially a man-eater.
Take to the skies to cull feral buffalo numbers.
Yeah, look, here's one old lone bull.
And head out to study a threatened species.
What lived on the land and how you look after it, that's what makes you who you are.
With the clock ticking fast, it's a race against time for these Outback Rangers. At the centre of Australia's Kakadu National Park, in Jim Jim District, Chief Ranger Kathy Wilson is heading out deep into the night.
Safety's on.
Her mission, to catch a deadly saltwater croc that could kill unsuspecting tourists. And helping her tonight is fellow park ranger Fred Baird.
It's been a few weeks now. We've been looking for this crocodile. We know he's there. We're getting desperate to catch him. He's getting close to opening Twin Falls.
Saltwater crocs are nocturnal creatures and hunt mainly at night. It's a high-risk job, but the big waterfalls are popular tourist spots. To make the area safe for tourists, the crocs have to go.
We know, we're aware of the risks. You're coming in through the dark water. You've got your spotlight out. Any second he might come heading towards you in your little tiny boat. That's all part of the thrill. We've just got an eye shine. We're heading straight down to it now. He's submerged, but he's in a tight area there, so we should be able to spot him down on the bottom of the water. He's gone down.
After scanning the area for 3 hours with no further sign of the croc, the crew calls it a night. It's a new day in Kakadu National Park. And a new battle between man and beast. Ranger Kathy Wilson is putting her croc problem on hold after receiving an urgent report of another aggressive animal over at Yellow Water.
We've had a report that there's a buffalo out on the floodplain not far from the walking track that leads from Yellow Water here across to home Billabong. But I just want to have a check to see if he's out here now. The buffalo are a concern because buffalo have been known to kill people.
Asian water buffaloes were brought to Australia in the 1820s as stock animals. Today, more than 80,000 are spread all across northern Australia. They have the potential to destroy much of Kakadu's wetlands, and they can be dangerous as well.
If there's an interaction with a buffalo, it's usually the people that come off second best. You can smell that smell of large animal. Have to be wary because it could be just sitting under any of these trees here.
It's not long before the buffalo makes its presence known.
Oh, there he is right in front of us.
Kathy has to remain calm. If she loses her cool, this encounter could end badly.
In the back of your mind, have an escape route planned, which way you're going to run. A buffalo's not an animal that you stand up to. At the moment, the wind's blowing towards us, not towards him, so he hasn't picked up our scent yet. They're massive animals full of muscle with very sharp horns. If he saw us, he could easily come straight for us and knock us about. So we'll just go back the way we came, nice and quietly, and we'll leave him here. Kathy Wilson to Park Headquarters.
If Kathy shoots the animal from the ground, she runs the risk of endangering people in the area.
Close the walk between home Billabong and Yellow Water. We've located a large bull buffalo. What we'll do is get a helicopter and shoot this animal from the air. It's too risky to try and shoot the buffalo from on the ground here. And if we do shoot the animal and it's wounded, it could cause havoc for the whole area here.
After receiving Kathy's report, Integrated Feral Team Rangers Fred Hunter and Ian Conroy are on the case. There is no room for mistakes.
Today, our primary mission is aerial culling. My main job here is the observer. I look for the animals and record what animal it is, buffalo or pig.
My job is to eradicate buffalo and feral animals up in here, protect the country, and people will walk along the walking track. Once spotter and find animals, he'll point them out to the pilot. They'll do a head count, and we'll bank around, come back behind them and start shooting them.
Yeah, look, there's one up there, mate. Whenever you're ready, mate, you guys can go for it. You want to get ready?
Yeah, he's not going to get up.
Buffaloes do enormous damage to the environment. Aerial shooting is not just an effective technique to neutralize the danger, but it's also a means to protect Kakadu's biodiversity.
The main aim is to destroy those animals humanely, and that's all I think about. That's a job that's got to be done, and it's got to be done.
Josh, it's all good to open now, over.
With the buffalo down, the rangers move in to clear the area. Operations like this not only ensure the park's safety, but also benefit local communities.
Any buffalo you take out of the environment's always a good thing. And also because we're boning out, getting all the meat off the buffalo too, it's not a waste. We'll take it back and give it to the local communities for the people to eat.
The cows we shot this morning with a helicopter.
What have you got there, Brett? I'll have the chicken. That's the time, is it lunchtime?
All right, about time, we're hungry now.
Oh, yeah, it's half past.
After a hard day's work in the field, these rangers get to enjoy some time off. But for another team, a bigger task awaits. For thousands of years, generations of Australia's Aboriginal populations have lived off the land in Kakadu. In turn, they believe they have a cultural responsibility to care for their ancestral home. For Jonathan Nagy, his role as a Kakadu Ranger is one that comes naturally. His family are traditional owners of a large area, including Field Island at the mouth of the South Alligator River.
This whole island is very important to myself and my kids. It's been passed on from my great-grandfather. There's a lot of stories and history that are here that basically I've got to protect. Not only that, there's sacred sites around here that I have to also protect, and a lot of those basically represent turtles, dugong, and all those basically is very important to us.
Each year, Jono hosts a small team of researchers to Field Island to study a species endemic to Australia's northern waters, the rare flatback turtle. This part of Kakadu is critical habitat for this threatened species. Tonight, they are charged with an important mission: to study the turtles during nesting season.
So preparing all the equipment, everybody else getting ready. So yeah, we're going to head down there and sit down there on the nice and cold sandy beach.
But even in the calm of the night, dangers still lurk.
A few years ago, but in another location, there was a guy sitting on the beach waiting for a turtle to come. It was a dark night. They assumed it was a turtle that came up, but it was a crocodile came up and grabbed him. That was the learning curve for us, so now that's why we've got a person guarding the beach at all times.
Throughout the night, rangers work closely with researchers to record important data about the turtle's nesting habits.
3019 on her right-hand flipper. Once she's dug her egg chamber and started laying eggs, then we can go over and start to measure her, because she'll actually be in a trance.
The flatback can lay around 50 eggs at a time and has the smallest distribution of all marine turtle species.
You might be able to see she's got tears coming out of her eyes. Some people say she's crying, and other people say it's salt excretion. The more that we know about flatback turtles, the more we can start to monitor whether their population is in decline and how we can try to help protect the seas and waters around Kakadu National Park.
Very happy to see turtles swim back out there. It's very relieving. At the end of the day, yeah, it makes it a lot easier for all of us to basically, look after each other, I guess.
When this new generation of turtles are ready to lay, they too will return to the same beach.
By looking after the land will look after you. If you don't look after it, it won't, do you a favour. Can't make me a millionaire. This is richer than money. $1 million is really a piece of paper. This land is basically going to be here a lot longer than $1 million. What is on the land, what lives on the land, and how you look after it, that's what makes you who you are. Without land, you're just nobody.
For Jono and the Rangers, the uphill battle to protect Kakadu's rich wildlife continues. Over in Jim Jim Falls, rangers are waging another battle, but this time it's against a potential man-eater. It's been 4 weeks since the traps were laid, yet an aggressive croc is still lurking beneath the waters. With tour operators pushing to have the place open, Ranger Kathy Wilson must find and remove the croc fast.
Right to go, Josh?
Yeah.
I'll push up. We know there's an animal in here somewhere. Croc could be anywhere. They can stay underwater for quite a long time and swim really fast, so you might see the crocodile here, and then within 10 minutes, the other side of the billabong, swim all along the bottom here without you even knowing, not even a ripple on the surface. They're terrifying when you see what they're capable of. Grabbing a pig, giving it a shake and tearing the head off. The head going flying 20 metres just from the sheer force of the crocodile's jaws. A person would have no chance to get away once a croc's latched onto them.
Before long, the rangers spot a closed trap.
Hey, the door's down. Looks like we've got one.
Oh, yeah? I hope we've got the big one.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a croc in the trap. Pull up alongside, hey, Josh?
Looks big, Kathy.
An animal this size, in this small waterhole here, It wouldn't take him long to clean out the fish. With people coming in, those wildlife disappear and he'll be targeting the people.
Whoa, steady there, old boy. The area that this crocodile's in, there'll be tourists walking up and down, walking across the boardwalk, swimming in a plunge pool upstream from here. He's potentially a man-eater.
We would lose someone straight away once we open this area. If we hadn't been doing these surveys and caught this croc here, someone would have been eaten for sure.
Rangers rarely interfere with crocs in the park, but in dedicated crocodile management zones such as this one, routine croc capture and removal is the best way to ensure the safety of people.
You reckon he's dead?
Yeah, he looks dead.
Just be careful, all right, because potentially he could be just stunned. One more. A big one.
Yeah, definitely a big one for this area. 13 foot, 1.5 inches.
5 mil short of a 4 metre croc. Cut the tail off, we'll take that back for Jess.
Crocs have been hunted by traditional owners for thousands of years. But now, these traps serve a dual purpose: to protect tourists and to provide traditional owners with a favourite bush tucker.
Killing crocodiles isn't something we enjoy, but we have to do it, and it's for a reason, and the local traditional owners like to eat crocodile. Or we're protecting visitors, tourists, but we're also providing some meat for the community. So it's not a waste. Let's check its guts. Stinks. This crocodile looks like it's been eating a turtle. Oh, it's revolting, smelly stuff, but I find it quite exciting seeing what a croc's been feeding on. You right, Fred?
I couldn't handle that. It's revolting. I rarely vomit, but this is one of those rare occasions where you just got to throw up.
The long search for the deadly croc is now over, and rangers can finally declare the falls open. Kakadu is drying out, and peak tourist season is about to begin. Before the tourists pour in, there's one last chance for Fred to see the falls empty.
This time of year when there's no tourists about and we're just getting places open, there's just silence. All you've got is the sound of the water running down the rocks and the birds singing their songs. Just the beauty of it all, and the awesomeness, you just think to yourself, there must be something here, you know. And growing up as an Aboriginal person, listening to old stories and things like that, you can feel the place, you know, it's inside you and you can believe it.
After weeks of relentless danger, the stage is now set for the Jim Jim district to open to the public.
It's a relief to finally have it done. We've taken all the crocodiles out that we've found in the area. There it is, Twin Falls. Finally got it open.
Over the next 4 months, 100,000 visitors will descend onto the park. But the rangers still can't rest easy. In the next episode, rangers face a new set of challenges. The sheer volume of visitors could mean havoc is on the way.
Some people actually seen the car spinning in the air.
Previously on Outback Rangers.
I hope we've got the big one.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a croc in the trap.
The team succeeds in removing the last croc in Jim Jim Falls in time for tourist season. Now, with thousands of visitors arriving in Kakadu, they have their work cut out for them. In this episode, Kakadu's search and rescue teams are out in full force as they race to a highway accident scene.
Unfortunately, it can be a common occurrence on this road.
While rangers hunt down illegal poachers.
I think that you have committed an offence under the Commonwealth Base. Taking them, mate.
Before gathering all their resources to rescue the injured. They're about to face their toughest challenges in this harsh danger zone. Quolls Crossing, East Alligator River. A busy spot in Kakadu, attracting hundreds of anglers each year. But they're not the only ones casting a keen eye on the waters. Veteran ranger Gary Littner is also keeping watch.
This area here, this time of year, just before the wet starts, there's a massive build-up of crocs. So you're talking about 100, 120 crocs within a 2-kilometre stretch of this river.
This spot is one of the highest croc-human interaction areas in Kakadu, making it one of the highest risk areas in the park.
Apparently they say don't go near it, but we were pretty close to it before.
In this small stretch of river, a face-off with a mighty beast could be a death wish.
Well, in 1987, there was a guy taken off this crossing. He walked across, and a large crocodile about 4.5 to 5 metres grabbed him and killed him. And then in 2002, we had a young lady swimming in deep water about 11 o'clock at night, and she was taken by a 4.6 metre male saltwater crocodile. And we've had a lot of near-death incidents as well.
But crocs are not solely to blame.
But most of the time, those things have happened as a result of behaviour from people. People are still not getting the message. Like up here, we've got a group of adults, and you've got a small child there with them. He's about a 12-year-old boy. And as we've just passed, there's a large saltwater crocodile on your right here, sitting on the bank. And there's also one behind you, and these people are standing in about ankle-deep water. If you're not paying attention, it could be all over in a couple of seconds, you know? People have just got to get a lot more savvy and awareness.
The Australian bush can be a dangerous place, and Kakadu is no exception. And crocs aren't the only risk. Jabiru headquarters, 9 a.m. Fire Station Officer Steve Anderson receives an emergency call. The Arnhem Highway stretches over 200 kilometers long. Each year, thousands travel this road from Darwin for up to 3 hours to reach Kakadu. The long distances, wildlife, and unpredictable roads mean serious accidents occur in the area.
We haven't got much information. It was just that it was a single vehicle rollover, and that's about as much information as we've received yet. Coming into this time of the year, we've got lots of road crashes.
Keep going back. Keep going further across the road, better. We're led to believe that they were Asian tourists. Driver fatigue, apparently, just nodded off. Unfortunately, it can be a common occurrence on this road. Especially during the dry season, we have a lot of tourists, and quite often some of them are not used to long distances with travelling. Unfortunately, this can be a result.
For Kakadu's paramedic team, led by Nurse Richard van der Veerdonk, it's a busy time of year.
Sometimes different things can be a bit overwhelming, especially, if there's multiple people involved and injured or worse. Again, that responsibility falls directly upon you, and you need to work out how you're going to deal with these situations.
We actually had some people that actually eyewitnessed it. They actually seen the car spinning in the air. They've been conveyed back to the clinic for observation and checkup as part of their holiday wrecked for them.
Driving in the outback can be a dangerous business. Every year, people lose their lives on these roads. Kakadu's remoteness poses another serious problem: lack of resources. The solution? The crew relies heavily on locals.
We have a fantastic group of volunteers here, and they do an amazing job. They put themselves in situations that are quite traumatic often. It's something that really lifts the soul to see people who are prepared to step out and to really help other people out of the goodness of their heart and at really difficult times.
For those who finally make it to Kakadu, the park's incredible wildlife is theirs to enjoy. 4-mile hole waterway, 7 a.m. Dozens of fisherwomen have arrived for an all-female angling competition, the Broads Barra Bash.
Today, the last day of the Broad Barra Bash women's fishing comp. It's the biggest sport up here. As you can see, there's 60 women out here today.
Today's prized catch, the famous barramundi. A predator of the wetlands, the barra is one of the world's greatest sport fish.
We've got the best billabongs, the barra, we've got the blue water and all species out there. It's great.
Oh, bye, beautiful.
But Kakadu's calm waters also attract its fair share of troublemakers. Since the creation of the park, a small group of people have been attempting to exploit Kakadu's bounty: poachers. Most operate in the coastal areas of the park, where a single day's catch can yield thousands of dollars. It's a high-risk game that can land them behind bars, but the huge returns mean many keep coming back. Rangers Gary Lidner and Andrew Wellings act as law enforcement officers, carrying out surveillance exercises. If they're not careful, things could easily turn violent, especially under the cover of darkness.
It's extremely hard to catch someone in the act illegally fishing or poaching. You basically have to be there when it happens. It means a lot of surveillance and not being detected when you're doing it. It's like catching a bank robber in the act.
October the 16th, 2003. Rangers were out on a surveillance mission looking for poachers.
A few years ago, we were just observing a vessel outside the park, and then we heard a dinghy and we saw a light of a person working a net, which appeared to be in a park. And then we we decided to go.
The rangers knew the only way to catch them was to chase them down.
We just went full speed and they took off as soon as they heard our outboard motors, you know. They were on full throttle on the plane, fleeing back to their mothership to get hell for leather outside the park boundary.
Okay, just turn your vessel around, mate. Open it quick.
Yes, sir, Gary. The funny thing was that this gentleman was only spoken to about a month earlier by Gary doing his normal daytime compliance work, so they were already familiar with each other and welcomed each other.
What were you doing over here with the spotlight on?
I was looking for my lost net. I've lost it this afternoon.
And as we later found out, there was still a gill net set well and truly inside Kakadu. So they were just on a poaching exercise and they got caught.
Commercial fishing has been banned in Kakadu since the national park was established in the 1970s. If convicted, perpetrators could face a fine of over $100,000 and a lengthy jail sentence.
Have a good day, eh? That's it, mate. Yeah. Bring up park headquarters.
Don't get me wrong, there's some really good people in the industry, but there's some that are really disengaged. They're very good at what they do. They're good fishermen, but they're also very good poachers. They travel at night with no spotlight whatsoever. They travel at low tide in total darkness. So you've basically got to match their ability if you want to catch them.
It's fairly unlikely we'll see them actually poaching in the park in the middle of the day, but they have come in with their nets and dinghies, set them up, get a boatload of fish and roar out on the cover of night. We've had a number of successful prosecutions getting out there and catching them in the act.
Andrew Wellings remembers plenty of high-risk operations. But one daytime operation several years ago is firmly etched in his mind.
Stay there, mate. Don't move. Just want to talk to you.
Yeah. Where am I going, idiot?
Yeah, well, that's all right. Just don't want you to go inside. Now, look at me. I want to show you something.
Yeah?
My name's Andrew Wellings.
Good on you.
I'm a warden.
No comment.
Okay. Just hang on, mate.
Hey.
Just hang on.
Hey, I haven't given you permission to come aboard.
I don't care. I'm a warden under the Commonwealth Government, and I've got an authority to board your boat because I think that you have committed an offence under the Commonwealth Government.
You're taking them, mate.
That's right.
You meet some colourful characters when you're doing this work, and some of them are quite volatile.
Right, we've got to do our job. You're in Kakadu National Park.
All right, hero, steady up.
Yeah, well, you steady up.
Quite a bit of action happening around his boat, so I suppose he was probably a bit shocked about that.
Yeah, no comment. No comment.
Well, I'm coming on board then.
I had a fair idea he was going inside just to hide whatever he wanted to hide.
Stay out there.
When you do, do a boarding, it's important for him to look after my back and equally me look after his back. You've got to remember that we're offshore about 5 to 10 kilometres from one of the coastal islands. If something goes wrong, someone gets hurt, you're probably 5 to 10 hours away. Once the sun goes down, you're on your own.
Yep.
The search and vessel obviously looking for evidence, nets, traps, spears, guns, protected species. We booked him for everything we could. They had 120 pots set with baits and taken all the crabs out of Field Island. But what he got, I think it was about $15,000 in fines. Lost 2 dinghies, all his crab pots. At the end of the day, you'd be looking $30,000, $40,000 or something like that. Commercial fishing is prohibited within the Commonwealth Reserve. So, from this point on, you don't have to say anything, and anything you do say or do may be used in evidence against you. Do you understand what I've just said to you?
I understand.
We understand there's some more pots in this area. We're going to seize those pots. I'm going to ask you to give me a hand to pull them up.
Okay, way.
Okay.
Go get.
Right.
Write that down.
For Gary and Andrew, their job is far from over. The battle to protect Kakadu's waters continues.
The park's serious. We're serious. We're working close with non-territory police under a jailable and significant penalty. Bang, if we're here, we won't be mucking around. We'll go and get them.
Hundreds of tourists are arriving in Kakadu. While visitors have a good time, rangers are on high alert. Rangers need to make sure that visitors stay safe in this harsh landscape. Jabiru headquarters. An emergency call comes in.
Kakadu National Park headquarters. Please state the nature of your emergency.
I have a guy who weighs about 140 kilos, maybe fractured his ankle.
The call is from a tour guide at the remote Jim Falls.
Is he able to put any weight on his leg over?
He's in a lot of pain, so I was going to try and move him, but he is a very big guy, so I think I might need some big muscle assistance. He's a bloody big bugger.
The only way in and out fast is by chopper. Kakadu's seasoned pilot Owen Webb steps in to assist. In this rough terrain, a rescue mission of this sort can be challenging.
Access, in this case with turbulence and maintaining safety within the chopper, becomes quite a skilled process for the pilots. Anything as we're landing can severely damage the chopper. I make the bandage on his feet and we walk some steps, but it was only possible to walk on the heel. But I'm just going to lightly...
The tourist has suffered a snapped Achilles tendon. While the injury is not life-threatening, Richard is not taking any chances.
We're just going to get you back to the clinic, take the strapping off and have a better assessment.
Okay. I just climbed on the rocks and tried to go across.
Yeah?
Because the sand is really, really hot.
Yeah. Sorry, I have to...
Dehydration, snake bites, and heat exposure are just some of the dangers that threaten visitors to Kakadu. The nearest hospital is in Darwin, an hour away by helicopter. So a small problem can easily turn into a big issue in Kakadu.
In tourist season, there's a lot of dehydration. A lot of people are not drinking enough and presenting dehydrated. People getting lost, someone bitten by a snake or whatever it is. So a typical day changes every day. It's impossible to know what lies ahead.
100 kilometers away at South Alligator River, there's news of a victim. Only it isn't human. A dead saltwater crocodile has been found at the upper reaches of the river. Gary heads out fast to the scene. His partner today, Indigenous Ranger Jonathan Nagy. Survivors of the dinosaur age, saltwater crocs are a protected species in Australia. So every death demands a crucial investigation.
Croc here somewhere you can smell him. Just keep your wits about you.
Just a few days ago, rangers caught people camping illegally less than 100 meters from this spot. Gary suspects foul play.
It's in close proximity to that camping area where people were fishing. That's a suspicious part about this situation with the dead croc. He might have come up near the campsite. Someone's got a rifle out and gone whack.
Killing saltwater crocs is a criminal offence that can land people in jail for up to 2 years and carries a maximum fine of $110,000. The rangers need to investigate.
Crocodile tied up now, and we're going to tow him up into the flat. And once we get him up there, we'll find a nice shady tree and have a look at him, see what happened to him. Oh, the smell's a big one. It's going to be with us for a while now. And yeah, could be with us for a few more days yet.
Clears my nose. No, it doesn't.
So we've got a 4.76 metre crocodile. He's a big male. You can see his penis coming out here. Big male bull croc. He could be up to 40 years old or more, you know. These crocs are special. They well and truly earn their right to be, you know, the boss croc. Because, you know, being laid as an egg and then surviving all that way to be a, you know, a 10-foot crocodile male is a very hard thing to do. To get to the next stage where he's a big bull croc, he's well and truly earned his right to rule that waterway, you know. And then someone comes along one day and maybe ended his life with a bullet. It's terrible. Yep. There's a couple of things that make us think that he might have been shot. There's no bite marks on him. You look at the animal. There's no obvious, like, wounds. All right. Okay. Yep. We want to see if he's got any bullet holes or bite marks either side of his body. Yeah, that looks interesting. That's a hole there. Yeah, that looks like a... Yep. It looks like a bullet hole right there.
A devastating discovery. If this croc has been shot, the criminal needs to be found. Gary and Jono must act fast before more lives are put at risk. Or could they have read it all wrong? In the next episode, rangers continue their fight to protect Kakadu and its native species.
I'd safely say you're probably looking at the last few remaining quolls. It's terrible.
In this rugged land, maintaining harmony between man and wild is a constant struggle.
Watch your head!
Nature is unforgiving, and in the battle to survive, some will come off as losers. Previously on Outback Rangers.
Croc here somewhere, you can smell him.
The crew discovers a dead croc and suspect it's the work of illegal campers.
Maybe ended his life with a bullet. It's terrible.
In this episode, the investigation takes on a surprising turn, while another ranger attempts to save Kakadu's smallest residents.
I'd safely say you're probably looking at the last few remaining quolls.
Firefighters have to contend with Mother Nature's fury.
Watch your head!
Have a look in this crate.
Even as croc experts track down a deadly predator. Every day's a battle for the team as the region goes through a period of heat stress. South Alligator River, Rangers Gary Lidner and Jonathan Nagy have discovered a dead saltwater croc. Initial investigation reveals suspected bullet holes in the croc's skull. Illegal campers may have shot it.
That's a hole there. You get a lot of people shooting crocs, ripping the heads off, just shooting them for fun. You know, people have no respect.
Reckless shooting could mean other animals may be in grave danger.
It looks like a bullet hole right there.
So rangers must get to the bottom of this fast.
Yep. There's a couple of things that make us think that he might have been shot. There's no bite marks on him. You look at the animal. There's no obvious, like, wounds. Yeah.
But something's not quite adding up.
You can see where it looks like another bite mark. Because when you get a bullet going in, it's like there's a fracture there, like that. But you can see there's another depression there. Look here, you can see some injuries here. See where it's been bitten about the eye. See that crush mark there on the bone? And there's these bite marks here. You can see them all there. There's another bite mark down the skull here where it's bubbling. And there's a depression tooth mark there.
The bite marks tip off the rangers on another possibility.
This is starting to look like it's had a fight with another crocodile and come off the loser and basically died as a result of that battle.
Just another big croc to come through, had a big fight, so they fight face to face like that. So the other one might have had him headlock and might have drowned it like that.
You're talking about a 16-foot crocodile here fighting with another crocodile of equal size or bigger. That'd be an impressive fight to watch.
To be sure, Gary does an autopsy, crime scene investigation, Kakadu style.
With the flesh removed, you can tell whether a bullet's gone into it much easier and also whether another crocodile's bitten it. Beautiful. Done.
With no signs of a lodged bullet, the rangers believe the animal died at the hands of a challenger croc.
You got another big croc moved in, or this one's moved in and challenged that croc. And unfortunately, there's a loser.
As Kakadu dries out, water is scarce, and waterways turn into battlefields. Crocs duke it out over territories.
The animal kingdom is not a nice place if you think it from human terms, but it's a reality for a crocodile. You've got to deal with threats from other crocs. For us, that's what you want. It illustrates a healthy croc population and the crocodiles basically controlling each other.
Crocs aren't the only ones fighting for survival. For some of Kakadu's species, the balance of power is tipped unfairly. At Goose Camp, 15 kilometers away, naturalist Ian Morris is studying the effects of one particular animal, the cane toad. Native to South America, cane toads were introduced to Australia in the 1930s in an attempt to control the threat of cane beetles. But in a cruel twist of fate, the toad population exploded across Australia, wreaking havoc on Kakadu's ecosystem.
There's so many toads now in North Australia and they eat so much of this biomass at ground level. That's all the food for our native animals, birds, reptiles, everything. So that's the impact, that's the biggest impact they're having on our wildlife.
Equipped with a deadly toxin, the toads are devastating to the park's native predators.
Our Australian endemic animals are the most vulnerable of all the wildlife to the toad toxins.
The cane toad can lay up to 25,000 eggs at a time, making it a breeding, eating, killing machine.
Those other feral animals we've got, none of those caused any extinctions, but toads have got the capability to cause mass extinction. We've seen a tremendous knockdown rate. Nobody knew what to expect. We didn't quite know how to prepare for these toads, and we've just had to learn by experience.
Ian believes the toad invasion has caused some species to become extinct from Kakadu.
The yellow-spotted goanna here, the great big floodplains goanna, which was a common sight anywhere around these parts up until 2002, is completely gone. We just don't see them anymore. They were a frog eater. and they had no resistance to the toxins of the toad, so they died out very quickly. The king brown snake is gone completely, nothing left. You know, and they're not coming back, they're finished. And that's from toads, just toads.
Now, another native species is being pushed to the verge of extinction, the northern quoll. From an estimated 80,000 across Australia's top end, their number has since plummeted drastically. A 150 kilometers away, at the Territory Wildlife Park in Darwin, curator Dion Wedd is involved in a crucial program to reverse this effect.
I'd safely say you're probably looking at the last few remaining quolls in the top end. It's terrible.
Dion is breeding a captive population of quolls.
And we've kept quolls right from the time that they were really, really common and in everyone's backyards to now where they're listed as critically endangered. So we understand the husbandry, we understand how to look after them, how to hand raise them, their reproductive biology. So basically what we do here is second nature for our keepers. They know what they're doing.
The park has teamed up with university researchers in a project that trains quolls to avoid these toxic ferals.
You can actually teach the animals to avoid cane toads. Essentially, we're mixing toad toxin with a meat mixed sausage, and the quolls get a taste of it, and it's a terrible taste. They hate it straight away, but it's not enough to kill them. So they learn to avoid it, and that's shown to be really, really effective. And we've released quite a number of quolls out at Kakadu, and we're up to second generation animals now that are surviving in areas that are quite heavily infested with toads.
Initial results show their methods are proving to be effective. But it's still too early to know if the species will bounce back. A coordinated effort is underway to save the quoll. Ranger Anne O'Day has joined the fight. Anne carries out trappings to keep track of their numbers in the park.
Small mammals have been declining across Australia for many, many years, and adding cane toads to the mix has really seen a much steeper decline of some of the species. Small mammals are in the food chain for so many species, and just to take those out of the landscape is just going to be a disaster. Well, quolls used to be so common that they were kind of a welcome pest in your house.
In some sites across Kakadu, the quolls have disappeared completely. They could now be extinct in less than a decade.
There were just quolls everywhere, and then toads arrived, and within a year, their numbers just plummeted.
Today, Anne heads out to South Alligator to set up traps. If she fails to find a quoll, it may mean the species has vanished from the site. Her partner, South Alligator Chief Ranger Khan Spokes.
So you haven't trapped this area before?
No, but those rocks over there look like a good place for quolls to den.
Yeah.
Maybe if we do a square around that.
Hopefully we'll find a quoll.
Yep. When I first came here, you know, quolls would be bashing around your house, bashing around in your dishes, you know, you felt like they were there everywhere. And now you're lucky to see one at all. So just to see those animals go completely would be terrible. So we do what we can to keep them here.
Quolls have been massively impacted with the cane toads. We've managed to get a photo of a quoll out on one of the other sites, which was a rare event and sort of a bit of cause for excitement. So we'll see if we can find a couple more. We can start finding them and they're coming back from the cane toad invasion. That'll be a massive plus there.
With the traps now in place, Anne can only hope their effort will bear fruit. The season of Gurung is approaching, and the temperature is soaring. During this dry spell, the land faces its biggest threat: bushfires. A common occurrence, These fires can turn deadly in mere seconds.
The nation is on red alert tonight as bushfires rage out of control across the country.
In this intense heat, Kakadu is at risk of such disasters. The remote town of Jabiru is surrounded by 100,000 square meters of bush, the perfect field for bushfires. It's only a matter of time before one of these reaches town. It's Fire Station Officer Steve Anderson's job to manage the situation.
We have our dry season, which pretty much dries everything out to a crispy brown colour, and then high percentage of the park then burns. Anything heading towards the town, we have to make sure that we do our own hazard reduction burning to pull stuff up, because once it gets a full head of steam up, there's nothing stopping it. But we actually see a lot of smoke, that's for sure.
Steve must act fast. Hazard reduction burns are the first step in managing the imminent threat. Steve relies on his team of volunteers. One crew, Tamika, Jen, and Treen, are known as Ando's Angels. The team is burning a boundary line to create a buffer zone around the town.
We're actually, the old saying here, fighting fire with fire.
It removes excess grass so there is nothing left to burn and minimizes the risk of wildfires raging out of control in Jabiru.
Treen, just wait on the edge there because James will be coming out from the other side, okay? Just hold up at the end of this long grass stuff. Copy that.
The boundary lines seem to be in place, but they need to be sure.
Hey, Jen, just make sure everything out on that side's blacked out, no smoke, eh?
For now, Steve can only hope the town and its people will be safe. As the waterways dry up, rangers are armed with an important mission. 80 kilometers away at West Alligator Head, Gary and Andy are setting out on a crucial croc tagging exercise.
40 meters, just under that sun.
They must tag the crocs now, before the wet season comes and the animals make their way to Kakadu's more inaccessible areas.
Transmitter's activated, ready to go, so just got to get a crocodile now. So we'll get a croc. If he's big enough, we'll fit a transmitter to him. And we want to look at this area here in terms of croc movement in and out of freshwater swamp. And more importantly, the movement of the croc, you know, day and night, because this can be a high visitation area for fishermen. And see if they're hanging around off the campsites here around the corner.
Tracking the movements of the croc population will allow better protection of both animals and visitors.
There's a few rests around here with crocodiles, so it'd be great to get a better understanding of crocodile movements.
Oh, I reckon I just saw a head in the water then, eh?
Yeah, might just come in, eh?
Where's the camping area? Right there?
Yeah.
That croc track's 100 metres away.
Yeah.
Andrew, just go
He's up there, eh?
Yeah.
Up in that log.
Yep. Let's have a look in this creek. What's the depth up here? Be a lot. Bit too far. Bit too far. As soon as he gets in that water, he's gone. But really, we wanted to be another 2 or 3 metres closer, but Andrew, it was a good approach.
Yeah, right.
So that's how wary they are during daylight hours.
Gary and Andy decide to wait it out until night, when the crocs will be more active, and they'll be able to approach them under the cover of darkness.
With this swell, it's making it pretty difficult to, boat around and do the work. We're better off on a calm night, that's for sure.
It's going to be a testing one. Haven't done one of these for a while.
But as night falls, Mother Nature turns nasty.
Larry sitting all right? When you go in, Andrew, you better swing back on an angle with the wind.
A sudden storm strikes. And as the waters turn rough, the crew is forced to abandon their mission.
Mate, we got 20, 25 knot winds out there, and it's not workable. We're not going to get the crocs, so unfortunately we're going to have to call tonight off.
Too rough. Yeah. Thought it might have calmed down a bit, but that's all right. Shit happens.
Okay.
With the storm forcing them onto land, Gary and Andy will have to set up camp smack in the middle of croc territory. As the skies clear up, another ranger is heading out on an important mission. Anne O'Day is checking on her quoll traps. If she finds one, it bodes well for the local population.
Yeah, I've checked most of the traps here, but what we're after here is quolls. Well, this one's closed.
With just a few traps left to check, Anne is desperate to hit the jackpot.
Might be something in there. It's a quoll! It's actually a quoll, it's a baby quoll. Yeah, it's just a little baby. This just means that there's another population of quolls out there that we didn't know about, and there's not many of those. So, best case scenario, these little guys could make a comeback. So it's got all its fur and everything, but I think it's still probably relying on its mum for a bit of milk. They breed up at this time of year so that by the time the wet season comes and there's insects and food everywhere, the little tackers are out getting to be independent and they've got plenty of food. Little fella like this means there's at least a mum and there was at least a dad. Of course I say was because after they breed up, after the breeding season, the males, most of them just die. I'll let it go just exactly where we trapped it, then it will be able to find its way back to its den. Did you see that? Oh, that was good.
In Jabiru, bad news has come in for Steve and his team. An abandoned campfire from 2 weeks back has grown into a raging bushfire. It has already burned through 40 kilometers of bush and is heading straight for town.
Trader and rolling runway 09 Jabiru. It's now working its way across and it's got a couple of little creeks to jump before it starts heading towards town, but there's every chance it's beaten a lot of fire breaks so far.
It's sort of burning in here somewhere, isn't it?
So it is in here.
Yes.
So we're just going to make sure it doesn't cross the road anywhere. So I think once we protect the camp, which is...
If the wind picks up speed, the nursery, airport and gun club all could be enveloped within the next hour. The crew decides the best course is to fight fire with fire. But they've got to move fast before another wind change occurs.
northeasterly is the ones we don't particularly want because that's where it's going to push this fire towards town. There's gardens, there's houses, there's all sorts of things that are a threat there. We're about a kilometre away from the edge of the township of Jabiru. If it jumps this track, then yes, it's a concern.
Steve and his team are working against the clock. The closest resources are hours away, and if they can't keep the flames under control, the township is in serious danger. In the next episode, the crew continues to battle the fire.
It's jumped there, contain the line.
In these unforgiving conditions, the land is at the mercy of the heat. Firefighters need to exert control over the elements, or else disaster strikes hard.